The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show. Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court with the Greeneville Greene Devils basketball team. We'll recap last night's loss to Fulton in the sectionals round and recap the season for the Greene Devils. But first, before we do that, as always, we need to go ahead and get a spot in first. So we'll be right back after this quick message here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone. The Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show is brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, Pizza Inn, and by First Horizon Bank. Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court inside of Howard Henry Gymnasium with the Greeneville Greene Devils basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with Devils head coach Brad Woolsey. Coach, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let's talk about last night. Let's jump right into it. Those that are watching probably already know 66-52 loss to Knox Fulton in the Class 3A sectionals round, a game that you spoke to me before we started recording, said that you felt like you could win, frustrating that you weren't able to come out on top. Take me through that game last night in Knoxville.
We came out just slow, just out of the gate. Probably lacked a little bit of passion early on, and we ended up getting down, I think, 10-0 at one point, and really didn't play very well early. But probably after the first 4 or 5 minutes, really kind of started playing a little bit better. And I mean, honestly, just the game just kind of stayed where it was for almost the entirety of the game. I think maybe we got it down to 6 in the second half, and then it was as high as 14 at the end. The Steen kid was just too much for us. He had 32 points. I think he may have missed like 2 shots. He just got us on the boards, got loose balls. The guy really just made plays all night long, and did a decent job of limiting some other guys. And I thought our kids did a good job, just even when we were changing defenses up. I thought they did a good job of doing that. We got some turnovers, made them a little bit uncomfortable, at least for a while. So our guys did a good job of adapting and really just continued to fight throughout the game. And that's been something that we have talked about time and time again is just we have to fight. And you always got to fight regardless of what situation you're in as a team. But in the situation we were in this year, we just knew that just having a warrior mentality, just a fighter's mentality was going to be important all year. And these guys just executed that to a T, and it says a lot about just who they are as people. Again, as their willingness to put their feelings and stuff aside for the good of one another, and I'm just really proud of them. But yeah, last night we basically got down and too much early, and then just couldn't piece it back together again.
And we spoke about it last week. You knew it would be hard going in to a visiting venue, much less to Fulton, who won back-to-back state championships as most recently as 2023 and 2024. So you knew it would be a tough test going in there. But as you mentioned, you start slow, but you're able to stay competitive the whole entire time. I know it was a frustrating game to be a part of with that slow start, but how do you think they played going on the road in such a tough environment to play in?
They really, like I said, after about the first 3 or 4 minutes, they were fine. I mean, like I said, they competed, played pretty fearless. We just struggled a little bit with ball movement. I think offensively, and Fulton was a big factor in that, and their ball pressure, and then just even some of their denials. They were a big part of that, but at the same time, we didn't get the ball moving early, and ball movement is never about one guy. It's about a team, and there were just several situations where maybe we didn't make passes on time. There were several situations where the other 4 guys were just stagnant. They're just standing, and when you're against a good defensive team and the ball doesn't move, it lets the team load up, and if they can load up on you, then there's going to be no options, and we allowed that, especially early. You know, kind of in the second half of the third quarter, we really kind of got to playing a little bit the way we like to play, and had some success. And then we also had some success with some back cuts, which is not what we do a lot, but had some success with back cuts there in the second half. But they're really proud of the guys in terms of responding and playing playing against the team that's just got a history. I mean, I feel like, you know, we also, you know, have a history of that as well. And but going in there, I mean, let's just call an ace an ace, whatever. But you're 9-22 and they're 22-9. You know, and you're going into their house, and the kids had every, you know, opportunity to just say, I don't think we can do this, but they continue to fight, continue to do good things, and I'm really proud of them.
And this will be a shorter first half because the second half will take a lot longer, talking about the season in full, the two seniors, and some other things. So that's pretty much all we have on the recap part. Unfortunately, just one game we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Usually it's multiple. I think this is the first and only one that we've only had one. So very short recap, but we'll talk a lot on the back half. So we'll go ahead and get a few breaks in here from our loyal sponsors, and we'll talk more after this here on First Horizons Green Sports Zone.
Pizza Inn presents I Ate at Pizza Inn. I ate pizza at Pizza Inn. I ate a salad at Pizza Inn.
I ate pizza!
I ate it all.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'm inviting you to come and enjoy Greeneville's favorite hometown pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet for just $8 all day, Monday through Friday. And then you can say,
We all ate at Pizza Inn.
For over 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has proudly served the Tri-Cities with a personal touch, because we're not just plumbers, we're family. From simple faucet repairs to full plumbing repiping, we have the experience and expertise to get the job done right. We also specialize in water heater and tankless water heater installations, helping you find the perfect solution for your home. Our technicians stand behind their work and always leave your space clean and spotless. Looking for a plumber who's fast, professional, and reliable? Call Tommy's Plumbing and let our family take care of yours.
At many dealerships, you get what you'd expect: games, gimmicks, and shady sales tactics. At Gateway Nissan in Greeneville, expect the unexpected: low prices, convenient service, and a great buying experience.
Get our Gateway exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty.
No worries for life.
You deserve the unexpected. It's the #1 reason you gotta get to Gateway.
Shop online at gatewaynissangreeneville.com.
Or take the super short drive down Highway 11E to Gateway Nissan in Greeneville.
Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court inside of Howe Henry Gymnasium with the Greeneville Greene Devils basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with Greeneville head coach Brad Woolsey. So this is the least favorite interview of mine every year. The last interview. Always love coming down and sitting down and talking to each basketball coach, and you never want it to end. Whether you win a state championship, you get eliminated in districts, regions, sub-state, at some point they've got to come to an end. No matter what, always sucks. And it always sucks when a season ends too, and you have to reflect on it, because of course you'd still love to be playing right now and end with a state championship. But let's talk about some of your favorites throughout the year. We'll do favorite memories, favorite moments, favorite games. If you have the same answer for different questions, that's totally fine. We'll start with favorite memories. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that we've seen. It can be something that few people seen. It can be in practices, bus rides, team meetings, summer camps, whatever. What have been some of your favorite memories with this team?
I mean, there are a lot of good memories with this team. I think when you rewind it all the way back to the summer, we went to the University of Alabama for team camp, and just kind of getting to experience that was fun. And you just spend a lot of time together, in those situations, and that probably early on is a good memory. And then honestly, I think a lot of times the memories that are not maybe one particular moment in time, I know we'll talk about moments in a second, but kind of those things that are things that occur over time and time again, that are just really, really good, really stick out to me. And the weight room in the fall, being with our guys in the weight room just on a daily basis, and it's one of my favorite parts of the year, because there's no pressure for getting ready for the next game. It's just a time where you have an opportunity to really talk to the kids. You see kids grow, like physically. You see them get better, and the fall, during our weightlifting, conditioning and stuff is always one of my favorite parts of the year. And so that's a great memory. And then I think for us, a great memory, was just the piecing together of our team and the coming together, and that process of coming together is a memory that I cherish and will cherish, now and until I'm in the grave, I guess.
And you mentioned memory or moments, you mentioned memories. You really didn't touch on moments as much, but what have been some of your favorite moments throughout the season that we have been a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think moment-wise, I think on the first win of the season, just after starting 0-13, just finally getting that first win, and then really getting that second win, just beating University High and then beating Tennessee High at the Classic, was just a great feeling, a great moment for us. And I probably wouldn't normally just talk a lot about maybe wins, but this season, the wins were big moments for us, and very appreciative of each of those. And regardless of whether it was a conference win, and I think the tournament wins are probably the ones that maybe we will remember the most. Just putting ourselves in a position to be 32 minutes away from being in Murfreesboro after just such a difficult run is special. So those moments, are things that we'll definitely remember.
What have been some of your favorite games? And they don't necessarily have to be any of the wins. They can be some of the losses too, because you can still have fun in losses. What have been some of your favorite games that you've been a part of with this year's team?
Yeah, I think just kind of scrolling through my mind a little bit here, I think just early on I felt like the Maryville and Sevier County games just kind of stand out to me, just because they're both good teams. They're both teams that were just in the sub-state last night, but our kids just played so competitive with them, and was just really proud of the way they competed in those games. And so those were fun. Obviously the region tournament games, just the one at home, Elizabethton. I mean, those were just games that were really enjoyable. And obviously, I think at the end of those games, when you win, it feels better. But those were good, and I don't know that our losses. Some of our losses, especially down the stretch, are probably not ones that we would say, well, that was a good game, just because we were losing kind of because of ourselves in a lot of cases. And I think if you kind of fast forward to like the postseason and later in the just the very end of the season, well, we stopped doing those things, and so it makes those games like that much better, because we went from making mistakes and turnovers down the stretch to where now we're making plays down the stretch. We're making the right plays down the stretch. And so those games at the end of the year stand out. But those games don't happen unless you go through the fire. And our kids just went through the fire this year, all the way through. And fire can it's going to melt. It's going to melt steel, that's what it's supposed to do. But what forms from that is kind of up to each individual. And I felt like going through that process of feeling heat, of essentially having to go through this melting process. I feel like our kids transformed into something better. And so in the midst of that heat, in the midst of that fire, I felt like our kids transformed into, it could have transformed into something negative, but instead they transformed it into something positive. And so just really proud of them for that.
And normally I do a senior night edition. I know this is our first year of coaches shows, and I like to sit down and do a senior night edition before senior night, talk about the seniors and everything that they've done for the program. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that this year. We had the snow that kind of affected everything, and we did sit down before that, but since I didn't get to do senior nights for other shows, I wanted to push everything back until the final interview to make everything uniform. But you only had 2 seniors this year. Yeah. Very small senior class, Ryan Maggart and William Woolsey, but 2 players that have made a tremendous impact on this program. How much have they meant to Greeneville basketball?
They mean a lot. So like if you were to rewind back to 8th grade and you look at our 8th grade team that year, you know, I don't think, there were no starters left this year from that 8th grade team. Ryan wasn't on the team in middle school. Willie was, but you kind of look back at that and then you kind of see what, you know, that they're the 2 guys that were kind of left standing for our school and community. The respect that I have for them and the way that they handled it, just tough as seniors. You know, you want everything to be good, and coming off of a Final Four year, and then kind of looking forward to what you maybe expect to be a possible state championship year. You know, and you go through the summer and you're kind of still thinking, man, this thing's going to, you know, this is opportunity. We still got this opportunity, and then things change. You know, it's hard, and again, those guys could have handled it a couple of, you know, different ways, but they absolutely locked in to leadership. They absolutely locked in to just being the best version of ourselves. And like I was just kind of thinking about maybe some things to talk about this morning, and you know, John Wooden's definition of success probably rings truer this year, maybe than any year that I've ever had. And I think the definition of success in relation to those 2 guys that, and I won't get it exactly right, but it's just this, basically the self-satisfaction of knowing that you did everything possible to pursue a noble goal. And I think that sums those guys up. Ryan, and you would not think it, but Ryan was an absolute vocal leader for our team all year long, whether that be in games, whether that be in practice. You know, he was out Sunday night and he was sick, and I felt like our practice was not as good, partially because he was not there. But his presence, and again, you wouldn't think it, but his presence was massive. And man, I just have so much respect for him, and I'm so appreciative of all the time. I mean, because that guy has been in every weight session, he's been in every conditioning session, he's been in every open gym. I mean, he's been there every time for 4 years, for every moment. And so, you know, you really build, like for me as a coach, you know, you really build kind of a special bond in a way because you spend so much time with them. And man, I'm so appreciative of him and his family, and just, you know, just kudos to Ryan. And then, you know, you got Willie, and obviously it's kind of a little different with Willie. Again, he was, I can remember when he was born, and I was, at that point, I think I was coaching freshman here, and I can remember him with a twisted, he'd had a Greene Devils shirt on, and he's probably like 2, and he'd have a twisted cowboy hat. Like my grandfather would take the kids on tractor rides growing up, and so one time they were riding the tractor, the hat fell off.
Oh, okay.
And got ran over by the tractor. Anyway, but Willie continued to wear this Western hat for years, and but I can remember him being here in GHS just for those games. And then I can remember watching him, like one of my favorite things to do, and watching film, like when we're not actually working, just to watching film for enjoyment, is kind of just to watch people's reactions to big plays. And I mean, I can remember him and JD's reaction back in 2014 against CAK when we went to the state tournament that year, and just seeing them on the sideline. And then, you know, there's just been other times throughout the years to just get to see him, you know, just be so passionate about, you know, Greene Devil basketball. And, you know, then you see him fast forward and he's here, and man, he's a kid that just worked hard, and I think was just always willing to do whatever was asked of him. I know that last year in football, you know, when he was out, you know, I think he was pretty faithful just in throwing to the guys and just being at practice every day. You know, it's the same thing in basketball last year. You know, he kind of lost that year, but he was faithful every day to be there. And you know, did this year turn out? You know, Coach Bennett asked me if, you know, last night, did me and Willie just want to ride home with our family? And I was like, no, we just want to ride. We want to ride the bus one more time together. And so we rode the bus home, and we were just talking about the fact that, you know, had we had everybody, man, we obviously would have won a ton more games. But you know, with them leaving, you know, we probably, and Cole's injury, not just, you know, people leaving, but we never would have imagined maybe how great a year that it would be, and just how enjoyable it would be in the midst of great trial and great difficulty. And so, man, I couldn't ask for anything more out of a kid than him, and just thankful that, you know, my wife and I have had the chance to watch him and see him finish out the way he did. I think this morning he was like, just showing me, he's like, I guess he's got bruises all over his body from last night. He's got cuts. He said somehow he's got cuts on he's got scratches on his chest. I have no idea how that happened, but he's just got stuff all over him. But he just went out. You know, it's kind of like just Jason Aldean or Luke Bryan. They got a song, but, you know, the only way I know is, you know, just go get after it and wide open, and, you know, don't quit till the job's done. And, you know, he did that. So, you know, I'm proud of him. And, you know, I also just, I don't know if this is right or not, but I'll do it anyway. But just looking back at the trajectory of his athletic career, you know, one thing that, you know, we never wanted, you know, especially with me as a coach, is for him to ever get his identity from playing the game. And my wife and I, just even growing up, you know, we really wanted to make sure that he understood, you know, the primary things of life versus the secondary things of life. And so, just like even growing up, we really didn't do a lot of travel stuff. I mean, we did some just for social aspects, but we didn't. And when we did, you know, we always still wanted to make sure that he knew what the primary things were, that his faith and his family were the primary things. And, you know, I just thankful that we were able to do that. And, you know, just as you see athletics kind of change, and you can see it change in college, you can see it change in high school, you know, I just encourage, you know, families to continue to keep the primary things. And that can look different in every family. You know, it looked one way in ours, and it could look totally different in another. But just encourage, you know, when you look back on, when you get to this point and your kids are no longer playing, you know, you want to look back and say, did I ensure that they understood what the primary things were versus the secondary? And you know, if you can look back on that and do that, I think, you know, there's going to be satisfaction just as a parent. And that doesn't mean things are always going to go well, or you never know what's in the future. But nonetheless, I'm thankful that we had the chance to really try and put that on him and put that in him, and hopefully it'll pay off in the future.
Out of 3, you still got 1 left to play.
Yeah.
Julia's still got junior and senior years ahead, but it'll be with a new head coach.
Yes.
That's something I feel like we got to talk about also. You were actually present on the bench on Saturday.
Yeah, you know, and I hadn't planned on it. I mean, I asked Coach Watts earlier, you know, did she need anything? But obviously I probably wouldn't have wore jeans and an untucked polo. But, you know, I think when you look at that environment that was developing there, you know, she wisely said, hey, I really think I'm probably going to want somebody on the bench tonight, just because of, you know, it was a powder keg, and not like a powder keg in a bad way, but in terms of the fans and stuff, because I thought it was a great environment. It's great for high school sports, but it was it was going to be a lot, and so like it was a pleasure and an honor to be able to sit on the bench. I don't know how much I helped, but it was a pleasure and an honor to get to sit on the bench on Saturday night.
And with that being her final game also, I assume it's an incredible honor to be on the bench for her final game also, because she amassed 274 career wins in Greeneville, second most wins in program history, a coaching career that has an exact 603 wins spanning across the high school and collegiate level. A coach that's made an impact on many lives and careers, and it comes to an end Saturday night in Cott County. Just what can you say about Coach Watts and her career, not only as a Greene Devil, but just as a whole?
Yeah, so when you think back to kind of probably what the foundations of, and this is me putting words in her mouth, so she may say something else, but I think the foundations of kind of what she, how she operated is, one, she had high expectations for performance, and and with those high expectations, there was accountability, and I think that and again, I can talk about this in terms of my own daughter's growth. Is that I think Julie understood the accountability that was necessary, and Coach Watts is going to make sure that you work to achieve. And there is, like, and I tell, I talk to my sons about this and my wife about this. When you talk about like teaching people the game, and coaching, man, Coach Watts is up there. I'm talking like in terms of like shooting the basketball and teaching that aspect of things, especially. There is, and this is hyperbole, I guess, but like I don't know if there's anybody better teaching the fundamentals of the game than Coach Watts, because and I've seen it not just this year, but I've seen it over however many years, the 13 years that she's been here. But she can teaches the game like none other, and then also just. And she's an unbelievable worker. That's just another thing that people probably don't know and probably don't see, but she really works at it. And that's not just on the court, but that's in the classroom, and that's everywhere, man. She is a worker. And I know that that's all she's done all her life, but she's just worked. And it was I was pleased to get to sit on the bench with her Friday night
and I was
Saturday night.
Pleased to be able to cover that also, because you never want to see a coach's career end, but it's special when you're there for the last one. You were able to be on the sideline. I was able to cover the game, and for some coaches, it's a successful season when you win 20 games. Sometimes that's a coach's goal going into the year, 20 games. She averaged 21 in her Greeneville career. Right. That's amazing. Yeah. She averaged 21 wins a year in her Greeneville career.
Yeah, she was consistent. She did a great job. And I also just want to add Mike. Mike, her husband, who as I was pulling things out of the locker room, on Saturday night, he's over my head. He said, "Brad, I'll get that bag. I'll get the bag." But just reminded me that I'm pretty sure that every game that he's at, he wheels the uniforms out for her, and takes care of her, and really, like I was telling my wife this on the way home, and you see the love that they have for each other, which when you think about being in coaching for 40 some years, and of course Mike was in racing,
Oh yeah.
He's NASCAR. He was a driver. He was in racing.
Wow.
Early, several years ago, and so they've lived the life of winning and losing, I guess, and it's pretty neat to see how in the midst of that, what is could be a difficult life, and as you get up in levels, it probably gets even harder, whether that be collegiate or like racing, but to see their love for one another just like still be so true and still hold so much. But when they were walking out of the gym Saturday night, that's one thing that just really stood out to me was their connection to each other, and also just Mike's part of that story too, just like Annette's part of that story. So it was pretty special to see.
And we hope her coaching career is not over. Would love to see her continue. I think I don't remember if she had mentioned how much longer she wanted to go, but of course she still wants to coach. Hope to see it continue. But if this is it, I'm happy to be able to say that I was there for her final game.
Yeah, for sure, and that's where I'm at too. Just being able to be on the bench for that final game is kind of one of those unexpected blessings. You didn't really showed up there, had my seat set up, and then got the opportunity to try and help. So I was very thankful for that.
And congratulations, Clark County also winning that game, going on, I believe, third straight state tournament now for the Lady Reds. So it had been, 2020 was the last time I'd been in that gym. So I haven't been there since their women's program has really risen to the levels it is now. They had a really good crowd and a really good presentation there on Saturday night. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it's good. And when that success, it's going to bring more people in. It's election season too, so that's always good. It'll bring all the politicos out as well. It was a great environment. A respectful environment, like a good
rowdy,
yes,
hostile, respectful environment. Like I left that night thinking, I don't have anything against Clark County's fans. Usually you go into games like that and you're like, man, their fans can be a little too much. They can be a little too disrespectful.
Yeah.
Don't think I saw any problems out of Clark County.
It was. I felt like, and of course I don't see it all. And of course sitting on the bench, I saw even less. But walking out of there, and then of course I've got a history of Clark County because my wife Melissa, that's where her first teaching job was.
Okay.
And so there were people that are still there from Clark County that I remember from when she taught there many moons ago, and I remember just how much I loved the people, the coaching staff that was there just in the early 2000s. I remember, I spent time with them, and because she was actually coaching basketball there at Clark County at that time. But anyway, it was they're good people. It's a good place, and so it was good.
I don't think they had the rooster out on Saturday night.
No, I've missed the rooster. I don't know, and maybe it's because if I've been there, I've been coaching for the most part. I've heard the stories of the rooster being out, and I remember the rooster. It seems like there's a stuffed rooster, if I remember right. But like I'm hearing stories of roosters on the loose, like roosters is that what you're talking about? Like I
think there was one they had in the lobby, like just in.
But
I don't
was
want
it
to call
stuffed?
No, like a real rooster. Yeah, like a live rooster. I don't want to say it's like a zoo animal, like it's enclosed, but like it was in its cage. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe so. It's kind of like Mike the Tiger for LSU.
Right.
I don't know any other mascot names other than Mike the Tiger.
Mike's like the only Bevo. I'm a Texas fan. It's like Bevo, yeah.
I remember that. Ralphie
the Buffalo.
Yeah, I remember that. Look, I mean, Smokey, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I do.
Okay, there's more than we realize.
Yeah, I guess I do. I guess but Mike is kind of like a proper name.
Yeah.
Like, is it?
Mike's cool too. You got a live tiger on
Roger
campus.
the Rooster.
That's crazy.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of the rooster would be. But Roger. I was trying to think of alliteration. Reggie the Rooster would also work, I guess.
Ooh, Rowdy.
That would be a good one. Rowdy. Yeah. So maybe some ideas for the future.
I've always said I think West Greene needs to get a live buffalo mascot. They need to have their own version of Ralphie. Who would take care of it? Who would run it? I don't know. I don't know if that would be safe. Probably better not to have one though, but it would be cool.
Yeah, I remember I was going to go into a fundraiser from many, many years ago. My wife was at West Greene as well. She taught there. And so her and Coach Carter concocted a fundraiser once, but I won't go into it.
Was it for a buffalo?
No, I mean, it involved cattle.
Okay.
On the football field, but yeah.
We'll cut it at that.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, we'll cut the show.
Yeah, and I want to tell you thank you because honestly, I've probably been approached a few times about doing the show and like time-wise.
It is hard.
It's hard time-wise. Obviously your flexibility time-wise has helped, but I just didn't know if I really wanted to talk, because sometimes you can talk and say too much, and I probably do at times, but honestly I feel like it's given me a chance just to kind of talk about our kids and talk about our program and talk about where we're going, where we've been, and I didn't say that, like I screwed up a lot last night just at the end of our season. There were just some things in the locker room I usually do that I just totally missed on. And one of the things, like when we finish with, I know you guys are associated with Brian and WGRV, and I always say thanks because you know, we have something very special in Greeneville, Greene County. And I mean, it's just like last night, I'm sitting there and like they're waiting on me to get out of the gym so that they can close it down. And it's not because I'm just hanging out, it's because I've got a radio station that I get to go talk to, and I get to talk to our people back home and let them know what happened. And then, you know, we've got newspaper and Green Sports Zone writers that are doing interviews, whereas, you know, I look around and you don't always see that in other places. And so we're really blessed. We're really blessed media-wise. And again, I didn't tell Brian thank you last night, and so I don't know, this isn't as good a thank you, but I tell him thank you for covering our games, and the number of people that actually just this morning had some other meetings, just had somebody talk about just the fact that they love listening to the games, and that you know, she was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if you can feel our support in Radio Land, but we love listening to the games. And a big reason for that is Brian and what he does and how he calls the games, and people really enjoy it. And I appreciate you taking the time to be at games, to do these shows with all the coaches, because it gives us a good opportunity to talk about our programs. And I'm not a big social media guy, you know, and there's just so much self-promotion now, and there's kind of expected self-promotion, whether that be programs, whatever. But you guys have given us an outlet to just talk about what's going on, and so just want to say thank you. Thanks to Pizza Inn for sponsoring this and making it possible, because, you know, if they don't sponsor it, you know, it's not going to happen. And so really just want to make sure to say thank you to them as well for being a part of our community. Yeah, and it's special. You know, that's the thing that people forget, and they think small town and can't wait to get out and this and that sometimes. But man, you have a special thing when you have a small town and you have people that care, and man, sometimes you forget those blessings, but they're definitely blessings. So just appreciate our city, appreciate you guys, appreciate all those that are involved in supporting our programs, whether that be through sponsorships, whether that be through being at our games, whether that be just talking about what we do. Man, it is special, and we are blessed. So thank you.
We'll do it for the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Same time next year?
Yes, sir.
All right, see you in, I guess, November. So, hey, it'll be here before you know it, too. We'll be in gyms before you know it also. When June rolls around, we'll have camps. I think last year you were in the JT Burton camp. I remember sticking around for that one a little bit. So, hey, before you know it, We'll see you at some camps in June somewhere.
Sounds good, Tyler.
All right, that's all we've got, though. Thank you all for watching this year's edition of the Pizza and Brad Woolsey Show. Look forward to seeing you next year here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.